I'm just going to talk a little bit about damage count. So if we click on the 27 damage here, we get into the damage calculation screen. If it's a physical attack, we're always going to start off by calculating the armor. So at the top it says source, Hot Boy used Flame Strike. Target was Callow, so Steven's fighter Callow was the target. So we start off with an armor calculation. He has 3 armor, but my weapon is a long spear, and a long spear means that his armor has a net -1 effectiveness. So what that means is we can see the -1 efficacy. That's because of my long spear. -1 efficacy gets converted into a ×2/3 multiplier. And this is the kind of conversion rate that I was saying that I need to put a table in here. For the time being, all I have are these little arrows like efficacy +1 goes to a multiplier ×3/2. But as it is right now, you just got to take a look at here and go, okay, -1 means 2/3 multiplier. And then my attack had 8 piercing. So what that means is we go, his armor was 3 ×2/3. So that's effectively 2 minus 8. If it's negative, it gets rounded up to 0. So he has 0 effective armor since I have a lot of armor piercing with my long spear. Now we do the physical attack calculation. The physical attack from Flame Strike was a total power of 21. Then we subtract off the armor. So 21 minus 0 is 21. Efficacy is 0. So that's a ×1 multiplier. So it's just very basic. 21 attack gives us 21 physical damage. Then we get to the elemental component, in this case fire, because it's Flame Strike. The attack provided us with 13 fire damage. And we can actually look in this case at the Flame Strike attack data, fire elemental, 5 plus 2 per firepower. My guy here has 4 firepower. So that's going to be 2 × 4 is 8 plus 5 is 13. So that's kind of where this 13 value comes from. Steven's desert guy, Callow, has 0 flame resistance and flame efficacy is +1. So he takes extra damage from flame attacks. So that's why we're going 13 ×2/3 to get 19. And then we add up these two components to get the total attack contributions. Then we get into evasion. When we talk about evasion, every time one of these damage calculations happens, at the bottom, we're going to be looking at 2 evasion values. We always look at the flex value. So if we look at our evasion stuff here, we have 0 flex evasion. Now, flex evasion is applied to every different attack type. The 4 different attack types are ranged, magic, melee, and shield. Since this is a melee attack, we're looking at the flex value, which applies to all attacks, and we're looking at the specific melee value in this kind of evasion chart, the melee value here. So if he had melee as well as flex, we would see melee here as well. So he just had flex, so we're getting 13 evasion, and then we look at the precision of the attack. Now in this case, we have no precision bonus, but let's say we had +2 precision. +2 precision means it's the same chart that we saw here, except reversed. Plus precision is going to reduce in evasion being divided by 2. So if we had +2, we would go divided by 2, and so that would give us 6 because it's always rounded down. If we had +3, this would be divided by 3, +4 would be divided by 4, and so on. So that's kind of how precision affects. If we have minus precision, so like an inaccurate attack, it means that their evasion is going to be multiplied. So if we had -2 precision, we would go multiply this by 2 to get 26 evasion. And then the final thing we do is we take this value here, and then we subtract off the evasion to get the total damage value. And that's how much damage he's going to take. Overall, I would say damage calculation is a bit more advanced. And so I wouldn't worry too much about having a full understanding of how it's calculated. I would just say get into a habit of whenever there's damage, just click on the thing and just take a quick look at what's happening here. Because sometimes you might get an attack that does 0 damage. And then you go, oh, why the hell is it doing 0 damage? Well, you come into here and you see, oh, I actually had -3 precision on that. And so they had like 50 evasion. And so whatever damage you're doing, they're subtracting 50 from it. And so it can kind of give you an idea of the big picture, what's really affecting the damage calculations. So I would say it's just a good habit to get into to learn it. Just whenever there's a damage thing, just click on it and see kind of what's happening.